Welcome back to Optimal Play. I'm still Brandon,
I'm still Steven.
and we're still here talking about Edge of the Earth investigator cards for Arkham Horror the card game. I was so ecstatic about the new release model releasing an entire cycle at once, and now that this is our seventh video that we've recorded talking about it, still sitting here in December recording these, I'm questioning everything.
Everything. A lot of cards to review.
Everything we're doing here. But we're here to talk about the neutral cards and basic weaknesses, which should be a nice little small pool of cards.
Yep.
And then I think we're going to try to do one more video of the multicolor cards, and we're going to make it like a lightning round because we are ready to stop talking about Arkham and play some Arkham. So look forward to that video coming soon to a YouTube channel, specifically this one near you. Like and subscribe, by the way. I don't think I've been forgetting to say that lately, but you can't be a YouTuber if you don't say like and subscribe.
Yep. You can dislike and subscribe too, as long as you subscribe.
And actually, a dislike helps. The algorithm looks at a dislike the same as a like. It's all engagement. So yeah, dislike away. help the channel out by disliking our video. All right. Well, let's not spend any more time on banter. What's the first neutral card, Steven?
All right, let's get right to the thick of it. This is a permanent asset, limit 1 per deck, purchase at deck creation. When you purchase in the thick of it, suffer 2 total physical or mental trauma, then earn 3 experience.
Oh, I have seen someone talking about this. It's physical and or mental trauma?
Yep.
Can you take one on one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know. I think that this will be popular because getting to put a couple points of experience in your starting deck is very appealing. Do you actually think it's a wise decision?
So it's not a great exchange rate. For example, in Forgotten Age, you spend 5 experience or some crazy total
to heal a trauma?
Which that's also, I think, an extreme exchange rate. But 1.5 experience per trauma, not great. Also, Arcane Research, you get 7 XP for 1 trauma, I think.
Yeah, spaced out over the campaign. So there's definitely a debate to be had about what's more valuable: 7 experience over 7 scenarios, or 3 experience now.
but it's 7 for 1 trauma and 14 for both trauma.
Well,
it's a pretty big difference.
True. Yeah, that is just a mystic card. So
yeah.
You're right. Maybe mystics are unlikely to take this.
But I mean, say one obvious standalone Calvin, there's no downside whatsoever.
True. Yeah. Yeah. In standalone, this is weird in standalone because trauma is less scary in standalone because it doesn't represent getting trauma at the start of an 8 scenario campaign is kind of like taking that damage and or horror 8 times, which is a lot of damage or horror. For standalone, you're only taking it once.
But you're only getting the benefit of the experience once too. So I think outside of Calvin, it's roughly the same in standalone.
Sure. All around, I think I summed it up already. I think this is going to be popular, and it is going to be largely a mistake. I think if you lose even one scenario because of that trauma that you would have done that you would have succeeded at, it probably was not worth it.
Yeah, it lets you, when you have that deck that you're super excited about that requires a few XP, it does let you start with that, which is fun, but not always the right call.
Right. Okay. Next up is Heavy Furs. It is a 2 resource cost level 0 neutral asset. Oh, it's a body slot card. This might be the only body slot we've seen in the whole box, I think. It has 2 health and says, as a reaction, after you reveal a non-auto-fail symbol on a chaos token during a skill test you're performing, deal 1 damage to Heavy Furs. To cancel that chaos token and return it to the bag and reveal a new chaos token. We've actually played with this a little bit. Not you and me. Me and Kyle. It was pretty underwhelming.
It has to be a face token, right? Because it says symbol.
Yes, it can be like a curse, which is an interesting decision of do you throw back that curse to draw a new token or just let the curse hit, and because you're drawing a new token either way. I think we put it into Bob's deck because we were every item we can run. Let's do it.
Yeah.
He's not using his body slot. Let's
Yeah.
throw in heavy furs. I don't think it ever ended up being like really worth its resources or its slot in the deck. Are you familiar though? Have you read how the snow tokens in the Edge campaign work?
It's like one is fine, but you really don't want two, something like that.
Yeah, the way they will work is you draw one of them, and it's like a half a curse draw, -1 draw again, and if you draw a second one, you auto fail.
Yeah.
And so this being able to cancel that second one that would be an auto fail, probably the main purpose for this.
Yeah.
And the flavor, obviously, heavy furs is like keeping you safe in the cold. So I'm guessing you'll only run this in the Edge campaign.
Also, maybe if you're playing the tarot that gives all your assets like an extra health, this is then 3 cancels.
That's interesting. Yeah.
It's a return to Circle Undone, popular in Tom.
Right. Yeah, makes sense for Tommy. Okay. Yeah, I could see it for that.
Next up, we got Sled Dog.
Yeah.
What a good boy. It's a 3-cost asset, ally and creature. I am disappointed it does not have the good boy trait.
Wasn't there a card with the good boy trait in Barkham?
Oh,
I think
yeah,
so.
I think
Yeah. So that joke's been done.
You may include up to 4 copies of Sled Dog in your deck. Up to 2 Sled Dog cards take up a single ally slot. And as an action, you can exhaust X Sled Dogs to move X times, or you can exhaust X Sled Dogs to fight. You get plus X fight skill for this attack, and then instead of its standard damage, it deals X damage.
Yeah, so I haven't tried this yet. I had seen it before. I think it's bad.
It's really expensive.
Yeah, at 3 cost each, like it needed something like pay 3 to play as many Sled Dogs from your hand as you want, or something like that. I think that its abilities are not like, I mean, I guess being able to move 2 times for 1 action is interesting. I don't think that they're really impressive in what they do until you have 3 of them. And that costs you 3 cards, 9 resources, and 3 actions to get there. It's real tough to picture this. Also, at that point, they're taking up 2 of your ally slots, which means you need to have another ally slot somehow. So there's even more you've had to put into this, probably charisma, to do that. Yeah, cool design, and I love the flavor of it, but it's tough to see this being a serious card.
Yeah, definitely fun. I'll probably maybe try to make it work, but it's a lot of work to make it work. Like you're needing to play things like Ever Vigilant, like just to even be able to play these, and Charisma. Or
we've streaming with Kyle and Case on our Twitch channel. We have a series where we're playing standalone decks every time, going through all the scenarios. So we have been talking on and off about doing a team build around Sled Dogs, and particularly trying to use cards that play allies or play cards for other people or take them from people, like things like teamwork. Does teamwork work with allies? I can't remember. Anyway, we came up with a few ideas to try to get as many Sled Dogs as possible under one person's possession, so they can do something like attack for 9 damage.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's true. That is true.
So that might be something we follow through on and try out. But I see this as kind of a meme card.
Yes.
Like, I don't think that I have any interest in an entire in being stuck with these for an entire campaign. I think like messing with them in standalone is going to be my relationship with these cards.
That makes sense.
They do look like good boys, though.
Yep.
Yeah. Next we have the Rod of Animalism, which is a level 1 2-cost neutral card. It's an item and a relic and is in the accessory slot. And here we go. You have 2 additional ally slots, which can only be used to hold creature assets. And as a reaction, when you play a creature asset during your turn, reduce that asset's cost by 1. Okay, so this definitely seems like it goes in the Sled Dog deck.
Yeah. I wish it was like a permanent, because this seems like tough. You're now devoting 6 slots to 2 Rod of Animalisms and 4 Sled Dogs, and like you have to draw it in the order of getting one of these first.
Yep.
It still doesn't seem good.
Yeah, it gives you 2 additional ally slots for creatures, which is enough to have, in this theoretical everything's working great world, 4 Sled Dogs and another ally.
Yeah.
which is cool, but I don't even think that the discount of 1 at 2 resources per dog, I still think they're too expensive.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. I do want to try this in standalone like once,
Yeah.
but I still think it's a meme deck.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, that was a quick one. If I'm ready to move on, if you are.
Yep. Next is Call for Backup. It's a 1 cost 2 XP event, favor and synergy. One at a time in any order. If you control a rogue card, you may move to a connecting location. A guardian card, deal 1 damage to an enemy at your location. A seeker card, discover 1 clue at your location. A mystic card, heal 1 horror from any card. And a survivor card, heal 1 damage from any card.
The grand finale of the Synergy
Yeah.
series, none of which has particularly wowed me. I think this card is funny but terrible. What do you think?
I mean, it does a lot of stuff. I don't know. If there's a synergy deck, this just goes in it.
I guess it does, but how often are you in a situation where it's like, yeah, doing a small amount of each of these 5 different things is what I need right now?
When there's a whippoorwill 1 location away from you that also has a clue.
Yeah, and you have some damage and horror on you to heal.
Well, it says any card. Is that like any card in the entire game? Like, could that be an investigator at a far off location?
I think it can, which is weird.
Yeah.
I almost think that because this card is so full of text, they needed to keep each of these bullet points short, and so that actually got like simplified to the card's benefit.
Yeah.
It just works on literally anything. There are even times when you put damage on like the scenario card for that scenario that arguably this works on, which is very funny. I'm not sure that that's actually like in the spirit of this card, but
go for it.
It's pretty funny. Yeah, if you're building a synergy deck, particularly if you're playing like Synergy Lola or something, why not? You're like, call for backup. Do put this in, but I don't think that this makes that like all of a sudden a great deck.
Yeah.
Which of these why is it okay? The art is 4 different people. They're like kind of arguably, you can see like there's a dude with a book who's a seeker and a woman with a gun who's probably the guardian. But why is it 4 people? Shouldn't it be 5 people?
Oh, they're your backup. You're the 5th person.
Oh, you're the 5th person. Fair enough. Good point. All right. Mystery solved. That's it for neutral cards. We just have basic weaknesses left.
Yep.
Starting with a classic, if you've played the likes of Eldritch Horror, the leg injury. I kind of can't believe we made it 7. Edge is the 7th cycle, right?
Something like
7
that.
cycles of Arkham Horror, the card game, without a leg injury weakness. But here it is. When you draw it, Revelation, put leg injury into play in your threat area. Leg injury can be healed as if it were a single point of damage on you. If it is healed, discard it. And then forced, after you take a move, resign, or evade action, you cannot take any more of those types of actions for the remainder of the turn. Resign on there seems very funny to me. So, I don't know. How bad do you think that is to only be able to move, resign, or evade once per turn?
I think the card that you have to resign from 3 times in the next cycle is going to be brutal with that.
Well, so it is like right? It's not that you can move once per turn and evade once per turn. It's once you move, you cannot evade, right? And so that I think is what's important is you cannot move and then resign. Is like why it's not just a joke that resign is on here. Like it can matter. Mm-hmm. I think for the most part, this seems pretty tame. Mm-hmm. Unless you're someone like Finn who is like trying to evade 3 enemies every turn.
Well, Monterey Jack wants to move a lot. So
that's true. Yeah. The way you remove it is novel. I like it. You heal it like it's damage.
Yep.
Which is a fun I enjoy build around weaknesses, right? Like weaknesses that you have to reconsider the way you're upgrading your deck because you have them. You might need to go for that healing that I normally would almost never condone you put a damage healing card into your deck. But this is a good reason
I like that you can't inherently get rid of it.
Yeah.
I think there's enough healing in the game now that they probably figured, you can figure it out.
And it's a good balance. I think that this is a smart design because you might get this as your basic weakness and you may have drawn it right before you started playing and oh shit, I literally cannot get rid of this card. But the effect is also not something you can't still successfully complete the scenario with. It's not urgent to get rid of it necessarily. Seems like a smart design.
Yep. So I got a very similar one, arm injury.
Oh.
also can be healed as a single point of damage. And after you take a fight or activate action, you cannot take any of those types of actions for the remainder of the turn.
Sorry, fight, activate, or what?
Fight or activate.
Oh, just fight or activate. Weird. And like using weapons is a fight and an activate action, huh?
Yeah. So you definitely can't do that. Although, I think you can do. I think you could do that, and then you just can't do it again.
Sure. Oh yeah. You could do it once, of course. This one seems worse to me.
This one's like pretty bad if it's your fighter. If it's your like investigator, I mean, yeah, it sucks that you can't use like fingerprint kit. Well, doesn't fingerprint kit exhaust anyway?
I think it does.
So yeah, it's like it doesn't matter that much if it's your seeker.
If you're using a card to investigate and it exhausts, like whether it's lockpicks or fingerprint kit or something, this isn't hurting that much.
And a lot of seekers rely on like skill cards to get multiple clues, and this doesn't affect that. You can still investigate with deduction and get multiple clues.
This is pretty bad for someone who's trying to use like multiple tome actions per turn or something. Like Daisy could, which makes sense. Daisy's got an armful of books. This arm entry is going to be no good for
but she
her.
only gets one free tome action a turn, so maybe having just one activate a turn is fine.
Maybe, yeah. Okay, again.
It's more random. It's like real bad if your fighter gets this. You better put a lot of healing in your decks.
Right. Yeah, agreed. I think most of what I said about leg injury applies. I think this is a smart design.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. And so then, of course, we have something like Stupor, which goes into your threat area and can be healed as if it were a single point of horror, which discards it. And then similar design. After you parlay, draw, or investigate, you cannot take any of those types of actions for the rest of the turn. So this one, it's pretty rare that you're using multiple draw actions. Definitely rare that you're using multiple parlays. Not being able to investigate more than once a turn could be pretty rough for certain investigators.
Definitely. And I have the other horror one, Panic, which is after you take a play, engage, or resource action, you cannot do any more of those. So I think play here is the one that might trip you up a little bit.
Yeah. And a play action means whether it's an asset or an event.
Exactly.
Or whatever, you've used that up. It was play and what else?
Engage or resource. Those don't matter.
Those are rarer, yeah. Okay. Yeah. And that's healed as horror. I think that's not as bad as Stupor. I think that at least it doesn't have the worst case scenario for that is not as bad as the worst case scenario on Stupor, where only being able to investigate once per turn could be brutal.
Getting the investigate one on your investigator or the fight one on your fighter are definitely the worst case scenarios with these.
This was a fun surprise because I've been playing some Arkham since this came out, so some people have been getting, including me, have gotten these as their random basic weaknesses. I did not realize that there were 2 that were healed as damage and 2 that were healed as horror. I may have even seen them and I got them confused in my mind and thought they were just one card. Like, I didn't know that there were 2 of each. And that's all the basic weaknesses. They all work that way in this. I like it. I'm continually surprised how many designs Maxine Newman and the rest of the design team have like come up for basic weaknesses that can, because basic is inherently hard to design, right? Because you just run out of things that kind of like work for everyone and kind of are painful for everyone. They obviously are hit or miss in just how bad they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're clever weakness designs.
Yeah, and you said you were a little surprised how long it took to get these, but I think it actually makes sense to like have these come out when there's tons of healing options, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was surprised how long it took to get the concept of specific bodily injuries. I'm not, as far as the like healing like a damage, that I'm surprised ever happened because it's not a design I ever thought of.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. I do like how healing has gotten more valuable. And it's always been a kind of class of card that I've scoffed at in general. I think that playing cards that soak has just been generally better than playing cards that heal, and this flips that a little bit in a way that is super cool and I think good for the game.
Nice.
Cool. Any final thoughts on this small set of cards we just went through?
They're very specific cards that are not going to go in most decks, which is honestly good for neutral because when neutral cards are good for every deck, then they will literally be in every deck. So I'm glad they're not.
Agreed. All right, join us again soon for our final Edge of the Earth Investigator video, where we're going to look at, the plan is all of the gold cards rapid fire so that we can finally play with them. That is the dream. I think we'll still be in our Christmas sweaters despite that video being out well into 2022. Steven, I'll see you then, and we'll see you then. Until then, dislike and subscribe, and be optimal.